Hi there. Now we are doing lesson 95. I am one self united with my creator. I am one self united with my creator. Today's idea accurately describes you as God created you. You are one within yourself and one with Him. Yours is a unity of all creation. Your perfect unity makes change in you impossible. You do not accept this, and you fail to realize it must be so only because you believe that you have changed yourself already. So when we recognize that we are as God created us, there is only one of us here. There's only one self. But when we begin to believe that we're separate from God, we have created our other self, our ego self, the part of us that blocks us from the awareness of the oneness that we are with God. Because if there's only one of us here and God is one with us, there's really only oneness all the time. That's all that can be. But when we begin to see others as separate, as opposed to this one movement of God that is expressing itself in all of these different ways, we begin to block ourselves from the possibility, the potential of loving one another, because we believe that there are others who can do things to us, hurt us. That's where the ego spins stories that are unlike God. And in that space, we believe we have changed ourselves. Paragraph 2. You see yourself as a ridiculous parody on God's creation. Weak, vicious, ugly, and sinful, miserable, and beset with pain. You may not think this of yourself, but every single time you think, oh, you're hurting, somebody hurt you, somebody said something mean, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough, I'm sinful, I'm bad, I got to forgive myself because I've been such a bad person. Others can hurt us. You got a security system. You think you're weak on your house because you don't want somebody to break in and hurt you. Your joints hurt. Your whatever is not working. You're in pain. All of these things we have come to believe as true, but these are the things that have us believe we're separate from God. So that's why we have to train our mind to not think things that are not true. Sentence number 2 in paragraph 2, such is your version of yourself, a self divided into many warring parts, separate from God and tenuously held together by its erratic and capricious maker, to which you pray, God, please help me feel better. God, please help this thing go away. God, please help my mom and I get along. God, please, take this illness away from me. Well, God cannot answer prayers that ask for things God did not create. It's fascinating. We go to God to help us, but it's the way the ego distracts us from knowing that only we can help ourselves. It does not hear your prayers, God, for it is deaf. It does not see the oneness in you, for it is blind. It does not understand you are a son of God, for it is senseless and understands nothing. This is the capricious God that we have created, the one that we pray to fix these things, because we don't know the real God. We don't know the true creator. We just know about it, what we have made up about it, but we don't know the true creator, because if we knew the true creator, we wouldn't be praying out there. We would be acknowledging the power that's already inside of us. Paragraph 3. We will attempt today to be aware only of what can hear and see and what makes perfect sense. We will again direct our exercises towards reaching your one self inside, which is united with its creator. In patience and in hope, we try again today. This is telling us where the creator is, one inside of ourselves. We are already united with God. God is inside of ourselves. That's what all of this is teaching us. Isn't that beautiful? Paragraph 4. The use of the first 5 minutes of every waking hour for practicing the idea for the day has special advantages at the stage of learning in which you are at present. Pay attention to that. Those early waking hours, that's when we want to take advantage of this. It is difficult at this point not to allow your mind to wander if it undertakes extended practice. You have surely realized this by now. Yeah, we're in lesson 95. We have realized that our mind likes to wander. You have seen the extent of your lack of mental discipline and of your need for mind training. When we cannot follow through these simple exercises, these simple steps, very few times that we're asked to dedicate, very few minutes when you think about the salvation that you're receiving, it's because our mind is not disciplined and it needs to be trained. That's what the Course is doing. It is necessary that you be aware of this, for it is indeed a hindrance to your advance. The lack of ability to make yourself do these exercises is an indicator that your ego is doing everything it can to keep you from disciplining your mind. It's not a judgment. Jesus is not saying it is a judgment, but it is a fact that we must become aware of. Because if you're not feeling the peace that passes all understanding, if you don't feel yourself as the light of the world, it's because your mind hasn't been trained. How do you get to experience that? You got to train your mind. How do you train your mind? You do these exercises. Paragraph 5. Frequent but shorter practice periods have other advantages for you at this time. In addition to recognizing your difficulties with sustained attention, you must also have noticed that unless you are reminded of your purpose frequently, you tend to forget about it for long periods of time. I am the light of the world. If we're not doing these practice periods, do you walk around this planet knowing that you're the light of the world? If you did, you would be like Jesus. You would need nothing from anybody. Everybody would be flocking to you because your radiance, your love, your peace, your compassion would be just so amazing. It would clear everything around you that is negative, and to you would be drawn those who want to feel the presence of love, unconditional love. You often fail to remember the short applications of the idea for the day, and you have not yet formed the habit of using the idea as an automatic response to temptation. Structure, then, is necessary for you at this time, planned to include frequent reminders of your goal and regular attempts to reach it. Regularity in terms of time is not the ideal requirement for the most beneficial form of practice in salvation. It is advantageous, however, for those whose motivation is inconsistent and who remain heavily defended against learning. If you're having a hard time with these lessons, if you're having a hard time doing these lessons, I can promise you that you're heavily defended against the learning that is going to set you free. I can stress until the cows come home how much this has transformed me. People who know me have seen that transformation, but that is not going to be enough motivation for you to do your own work. Jesus, who we all, those of us who study and who believe in Jesus, trust that he was somebody who achieved that Christ consciousness. And here he's telling us how to do the same thing. Yet how many of us are going to ignore this work? We don't have the time, it's too boring, it's too difficult, it's too Christian, it's too this, it's too that, it's too long, it's too many practice periods. But yet you long peace, you long for peace. But the untrained mind is not going to do the work, because the untrained mind is the ego blocking us from letting our mind be trained, because then we would release the ego. That's where freedom comes in, but only each person will know when they're ready to receive that much freedom. Paragraph 7, we will therefore keep to the 5 minutes an hour practice periods for a while and urge you to omit as few as possible. Set your phone timers, whatever it takes to remind you. 5 minutes an hour is not that much to remind yourself, I am one self united with my Creator. Using the first 5 minutes of the hour will be particularly helpful since it imposes firmer structure. Do not, however, use your lapses from this schedule as an excuse not to return to it again as soon as you can. So if you miss an hour, you miss 2 hours, come back right to it. Don't say, oh, I skipped 2 hours, so let me just forget about it for today. Come back. There may well be a temptation to regard the day as lost because you have already failed to do what is required. This should, however, merely be recognized as what it is: a refusal to let your mistake be corrected and an unwillingness to try again. Jesus is using some stern language because until I got to see that it was my doing, my ego, that was keeping me from correcting my mistakes, I was unwilling to try again. I was unwilling to follow the regiment. And I did this as best as I could. If I couldn't do it every hour, I forgave myself. And then I just got back on it as quickly as I could. Sometimes it could be an entire day I couldn't. If I was out with clients, I couldn't. I might put it on my phone and quickly glance. Ooh, I am one self, united with my creator. And that's the best that I could do. Sometimes I couldn't even do that. But it's because I wasn't willing to make this my priority, because money was a priority, the kids were a priority, the husband, the whatever it is that I needed to do, the vacation, the shopping trip. I had to acknowledge I'm making all of those things priorities instead of my peace of mind. And when I finally got that, it shocked me. It shocked the heck out of me that I would choose something over my sanity. And that's when it shifted for me big time. But all of us will come to that when we're ready for that. Paragraph 8, the Holy Spirit is not delayed in his teaching by your mistakes. The Holy Spirit is not delayed in his teaching by your mistakes. It's not going to delay at all what it's doing because it's inside of us. But we can block it. He can be held back only by your unwillingness to let them go. So yes, we hold it back. Let us therefore be reminded, particularly for the next week or so, to be willing to forgive ourselves for our lapses in diligence and our failure to follow the instructions for practicing the day's idea. We must learn to forgive ourselves when we make these mistakes. This tolerance for weakness will enable us to overlook it rather than give it power to delay our learning. Here's the word tolerance. This tolerance for weakness, accepting that we have it, will enable us to overlook it. I have it. Let me now not pretend that I'm not weak and that I'm just not skipping the exercises. Let me acknowledge there is weakness in me. Now let me try again. Forgive myself and try again. If we give it power to do this, my weakness, we are regarding it as strength and are confusing strength with weakness. If we say that, I can't get to it, I'm making that somehow something that has power to make me not do it. So I'm going to be honest and just say, I didn't get it done. I didn't make it a priority. It's not a weakness that I am acknowledging I didn't make it a priority. I'm acknowledging there is a weakness that I use to keep me from doing what I do. And when I let that weakness have power to consistently keep me from doing it, now I'm in trouble. But when I just tolerate it, okay, it's just part of what is, forgive myself and move on, I can then not feel guilty about having missed the lessons, and I can come back to it a lot faster. Paragraph 9, when you fail to comply with the requirements of this course, you have merely made a mistake. That's it. This calls for correction and for nothing else. Oh my gosh, Jesus is so gentle with us. To allow a mistake to continue is to make additional mistakes based on the first and reinforcing it. It is this process that must be laid aside. We got to stop tolerating our mistakes, but we got to acknowledge that we make them, which means we accept that we made them. That's I guess what tolerance is we accept that we made it. We're honest about it and don't judge ourselves because of this. For it is but another way in which you would defend illusions against truth. So we're tolerating our what we're doing so that we can begin to practice self-love, because in loving ourselves enough, it's going to feel good. And when you feel good, guess what? You're going to want to do the work. It's going to be automatic. Paragraph 10. Let all these errors go by, recognizing them for what they are. They are attempts to keep you unaware you are one self. Capital S, united with your Creator, at one with every aspect of creation, and limitless in power and in peace. All avoidance of lessons is nothing more than the ego wanting to keep you from owning the truth of who you are, one self, united with God, at peace, and with infinite power at your disposal. If you don't like what's going on in your life, it's because you're not being disciplined enough to acknowledge that you created it, and with the same power that created what you don't want, you could create what you do want. You could have that experience, but you got to train your mind into accepting that you are the one doing it or blocking it. This is the truth and nothing else is true. Today we will affirm this truth again and try to reach the place in you in which there is no doubt that only this is true. So every distraction is an attempt, nothing more than an attempt to keep you yourself unaware of your true self, united with your Creator, at one with every aspect of creation, and limitless in power and in peace. That's all that's happening. Paragraph 11, begin the practice period today with this assurance. Offered to your mind with all the certainty that you can give. I am one self, united with my Creator, at one with every aspect of creation, and limitless in power and in peace. If I have that much power, I can certainly do these lessons. I can definitely make time for these lessons. Then close your eyes and tell yourself again, slowly and thoughtfully, attempting to allow the meaning of the words to sink into your mind, replacing false ideas. I am one self. I am one self, united with my Creator. Isn't that beautiful? Repeat this several times, I am one self, and then attempt to feel the meaning that the words convey. You are one self, united and secure in light and joy and peace. You are God's Son, one self, with one Creator and one goal, to bring awareness to this oneness to all minds, that true creation may extend the allness and the unity of God. Because when we save others from our judgments and we commit to forgive ourselves for our mistakes, we begin to come inside to a place of peace. We begin to realize how powerful we are. When we begin to realize how powerful we are, we begin to recognize that that power is God inside of us, and it's what we're accessing because we're aligning with it. When we do that, we will feel an allness, a unity with all that is. You are one self, complete and healed and whole, with power to lift the veil of darkness from the world and let the light in you come through to teach the world the truth about yourself. When I align myself with the truth, then I release everybody from my judgment. All of a sudden, I am the presence of love. That is what saves the world. That is what people will remember. Those who are ready will recognize it. Those who are not, they'll have to move away. It'll be too much. It will be too much love, too much light, too much acceptance. But I need to gift that to me because it's the truth of who I am. Paragraph 13, you are one self in perfect harmony with all there is and all that there will be. All creation is created. We get to enjoy it. You are one self, the Holy Son of God, united with your brothers in that self. Why? Because there's only one energy here. United with your Father in His will. Only one creative energy. That creative energy, we call it Father. That energy is love. That energy is what pulsing inside of you, inside of me. When we feel that energy and we don't block it with our thinking, we are in beautiful alignment. We are moved. We're guided. We're directed. So peaceful. So blissful. Feel this one self in you. This is sentence number 3 in paragraph 13. Feel this one self in you and let it shine away all your illusions and your doubts. This is your self, the Son of God Himself, sinless as its creator, with His strength within you and His love forever yours. You are one self, and it is given you to feel the self within you and to cast all your illusions out of the one mind that is this self, the holy truth in you. The self is the consciousness, is the mind that we're inside of, is the mind that we are, is the truth, is that aspect of you who is pure awareness, pure consciousness. That one that is aware of all that's happening without interpreting it. That's the presence of the Creator. That's the self that we are in alignment with the God that we are, bringing everything into oneness. Now everything that is perceived through the eyes of God, through the eyes of love. Now everything has meaning and everything becomes helpful to us. Isn't this beautiful? Paragraph 14, do not forget today. We need your help. Jesus is saying we need your help, your little part in bringing happiness to all the world. When you become aligned with your truth. You are a happy being. Happy people don't hurt anybody. Only hurt people hurt people. And for us to return to that happiness, we have to align our thinking with the mind of God. We have to unite in one thinking only. Our mind has to be trained to think truth only and only truth. Otherwise, anything that is untrue will block us from being able to know the truth. And then we will act as if we're separate and protect ourselves and condemn others and feel weakness and be ugly. This is so powerful. Sentence number 3 in paragraph 14. And heaven looks to you in confidence that you will try today. God knows that we can do it. And now it's just a matter of us to do it again. Try it today. Share then its surety, for it is yours. Be vigilant. Do not forget today. Throughout the day, do not forget your goal. Repeat today's idea as frequently as possible and understand each time that you do so, someone hears the voice of hope, the stirring of the truth within his mind, the gentle rustling of the wings of peace. Poetry. When I treat everyone that I meet as if they are the presence of God, I don't need anything from them because I know that I'm the presence of God too. I know my wholeness, my completeness, my peacefulness. I don't see enemies. Whether I do that with my beloved, with my pet, with my sisters, with my friends, with my children, treating them as if they're already whole and complete, then there's nothing I need to take and there's nothing I need to fix or to give to them. Now, God, seeing God, can be felt as that oneness. That is what bliss is all about. That is what unconditional love is all about. But we have to let ourselves receive these truths. Otherwise, we protect and defend ourselves. It's so beautiful. It's already true. It's just a matter of letting us receive it. Paragraph 15. Your own acknowledgement you are oneself united with your Father is a call to all the world to be at one with you. I know I'm committed to this, so I'm calling you to accept this for yourself. It really, truly is beautiful. To everyone you meet today, be sure to give the promise of today's idea and tell him this: you are one self with me, united with our Creator in this self. I honor you because of what I am and what He is. God is, who loves us both as one. I honor you. I honor you because of what God is. You and I are connected. Whether we ever meet each other or not, it doesn't matter. We are connected by God. There's the one energy between us. Let us experience that as our truth. And world peace is sure to follow. Thank you so much and have a magnificent day.